Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I want to talk about business model that most people see as generous, helpful, and community minded. The thrift store. On the surface, it looks simple. People donate things they no longer want. Shoppers come in seeking bargains, and somehow everybody benefits. But underneath that simple story is a much more complex system. Thrift stores are not just charitable spaces, they are sorting engines, inventory pipelines, resale platforms, and in many cases, funding mechanisms for broader missions. So, the deeper question for this presentation is this: are thrift stores mainly about helping, or are they hidden retail systems built on the economics of excess and overabundance? Most people think thrift stores operate on a very moral and uncomplicated story. You clean out the closet, drop off what you don't need, and feel like the items will help somebody else. Then shoppers come along and find affordable clothing, home goods, and some hidden treasures. In that version of the story, donation feels like generosity and shopping feels like smart reuse. That is the public facing narrative. But that story leaves out the back end reality. Not every donation is helpful, not every item is usable, and not every act of giving arrives as a clean contribution to the system. What is really going on is that donated goods are entering a retail conversion process. Once an item is dropped off, it is no longer just a personal belonging, it becomes a candidate for inventory. It has to be sorted, evaluated, priced, merchandised, and moved. Some items become store stock, some become outlet stock. So, the hidden business is not just accepting gifts, it is turning usable excess into revenue while managing the burden of everything that cannot be sold. The visible story is donation, the hidden system is retail conversion. This business is not a tiny informal system. Thrift and donation economies operate at real humongous scale. The stores may look soft and community driven on the surface, but the underlying economics are substantial because so many households generate excess goods and so many organizations have learned how to convert those goods into recurring resale value. That means the thrift store model sits at the intersection of charity, retail, sustainability, and consumer excess. The lesson here is simple: secondhand does not mean small. A store built on donated goods can still operate as a very serious economic machine. This is where the topic becomes especially revealing. Not every donation is actually a usable donation. Some people drop off damaged, dirty, unsanitary, oversized, or unsellable items because they want to avoid the time and cost of proper disposal. In that moment, the so called donation is no longer a gift. It is an attempt to transfer your burden onto that organization. That creates one of the hidden tensions inside this entire model. The organization wants inventory, but it may receive waste pretending to be generosity. So the back end challenge is not simply taking donations, it is constantly deciding what is stock, what is salvage, and really what is just disposal in disguise. This model really makes sense when we look at the three stakeholders in this equation. First, the donors wants release, more space, less clutter, maybe even moral satisfaction. Second, the thrift store operator wants usable goods that can turn into sellable inventory and support the mission of the store. Third, the shopper wants affordability, discounts, discovery, and maybe even a little resale margin. The same item means something different to each group. To the donor, it may be clutter. To the store, to the buyer, it's value. This is what makes the thrift economy so interesting. It is a three-sided system built on one person excess becoming another person's opportunity. The real flow of the system starts in the household where excess builds up. The donor decides to release those goods. The items arrive at the drop off site or the store intake point. Then the real work begins sorting, rejecting, pricing, shelving, rotating, and clearing what does not move. After that, shoppers and resellers step in. Some items become affordable everyday purchases, some become collectibles. Some may be flipped again in another market, and some never succeed at inventory at all. So the thrift cycle is not simply donation to purchase, it is excess to evaluation to resale or waste. The business model canvas normalizes the business underneath this moral language. The customer segment includes your donors, your bargain shoppers, your resellers, and in some systems, people served by the mission programs funded through the sales. The value proposition includes relief for the donors, affordability for shoppers, and revenue for the organization. The channels include donation drop off, retail floors, and mission branding. The revenue stream is primarily the resale of donated goods, but the real engine depends on sorting, turnover, shelf space, and labor. The key resources are donation inflow, trust, your workers, floor space, and the ability to identify what is truly sellable. What the business model canvas shows is that the thrift economy is not just community goodwill. It is a disciplined inventory business built on household overflow. Your strength, weakness, opportunity snapshot shows why the model is both powerful and fragile. Its strengths includes low cost inventory, public trust, affordability, and a strong reuse narrative. Its weaknesses includes inconsistent item quality, heavy labor demands, sorting pressure, and the constant burden of unsellable donations. The opportunities are strong. Sustainability messaging, stronger donation education, better resale segmentation, and partnerships with other transition businesses like moving, clean out, and estate sale ecosystems. But the threats are real as well: rising disposal waste costs, donor dumping, oversupply of low value goods, and public skepticism if the mission story feels too commercial. So the model works best when usable goods move quickly and the waste burden stays under control. The big takeaway is that thrift stores and donation economies are not just about helping people get rid of things or helping shoppers save money. They are hidden conversion systems. They take household excess, run it through sorting, pricing, and retail logic, and turn it into revenue reuse and secondhand opportunity. But they also live under constant tension. Every donation can be either inventory or a burden. This is why this is such a revealing business model. The visible act is donation. The hidden business is conversion. The thrift store is where the unwanted and the bandit get that one more chance at life to become useful in service instead of just wasting away. Thank you.